Lincoln Clay said, "Yo." Craig the Tech Guy said, "Is this Mass Effect?" El Diego VR said, "Sublink. Curious about Rennsport. How's it been in VR, my dude?" Lincoln Clay said, "It's the Mass Effect Racing Edition LOL." Lincoln Clay said, "Sup Diego."
Yep, looks like we are good to go. What is good, everybody? It is the Godfather of VR, the ageless one of the man, Look at Clay, and we are back for some more Rennsport. I thought I was done streaming this game, being that I can't get into any online races. Every time I try to go into an online race, the page does not read inputs from my will, so I cannot proceed any further. But oddly, whenever I try to go in there flat screen, it works just fine. But when I try to go in there in VR, it doesn't work. So yeah, they got a little bit of work to do. Little knick-knack stuff that they got to work on. Nothing game breaking, but just enough that, yeah, we know they still got to tweak a few things. So yeah, I was not planning to do any more Rennsport streams until I could get in and do daily races, but I am going to admit my boy Graybeard Gamer, I seen him stream the Rennsport beta, and he purchased the Founders Pack, which this is the Founders Pack. And there's 3 tiers, as I've said before or said yesterday. The gold just gets you the track and a token to buy a car at a later date. The platinum, which is what I bought, gets you the Nords Life the Nords Life, a token for a car purchase at a later date, and the Porsche 911 GT3-R Rennsport Edition, which has a dynamic livery, and I believe it has a dynamic livery, at least the one that I bought. And that dynamic livery looks like circuitry going through your car. And what makes it dynamic is more of that livery shows as you're going faster. So that's a pretty neat concept. And then the Diamond Pack, you get the Porsche, you get the Nords Life, you get 2 tickets or 2 tokens for car purchases at a later date, and I think you get a couple of different liveries. You also get your name on the runoff of this fictional Rennsport track. In my case, it'll get put on a billboard since I bought a platinum. You know what? I need to do some controller binding real quick. Basic steering. Yeah, I need to change the ABS. Okay, that should do it. So let's hop in and have a look. So the livery, yeah, I guess I get the dynamic lighting. I'm not a big fan of the Nords Life. I don't have anything. I don't dislike the track, but it's not one of my favorites.
El Diego VR said, "How is the VR integration? Easy to set up?"
Once you're in the game, navigating through the menus is no different than navigating on flat screen, because basically what I've got in front of me is a giant dashboard, this 2D. But as far as getting into VR, yeah, that's a little bit of a headache because Rennsport was not specific on how to enable the VR. So what you do is, if you have this game, I assume that you have the Epic Game Store launcher. So what you do is you go into the Epic launcher, you click library, and then once you go in a library, in the center of the launcher, you'll see a list of games that you have installed. You go down to Rennsport, and you'll see 3 dots slightly to your right. You see 3 dots. You right click or you click those dots, and then you go to Manage, click Manage, and then another window will open. And at the bottom, it'll say Launch Options, and you'll see a space bar. You type in -VR, the minus sign VR, and then close it. And then when you boot it up, it'll go into VR. All right. So let me see if I can get a side angle on this. Pretty slick looking car. So that's the livery, but once the car is moving, you have these funny looking lighted streaks that go through the car that looks like circuitry.
El Diego VR said, AHH. Doesn't seem too hard then. Not as simple as it should be for mass market adoption though, faced with tears of joy.
Right. No, it's not a headache. It's just that Rennsport didn't specifically tell anybody how to set the VR up. So I went in thinking that, okay, just put my headset on and it'll automatically go into VR. That wasn't the case. Ironically, one of my Discord friends, he was the one that told me how to set the VR up. I will say that the VR, they did an update yesterday. It's about almost 2 gigs. And I'm assuming that part of that update was to improve the VR because it looks a lot better than it did a couple of days ago when it first launched.
El Diego VR said, yeah, a little odd they didn't tell everyone, LOL. Thanks, dude.
Not a problem.
Look forward to giving it a blast.
I think they got something special working here. I think this game, is going to hold its weight against the ACCs and the iRacings. I like the way this car handles. But it feels like it handles like a lot like the regular 911. Or 992 rather. was close.
Sim Racing Junkie said, I have a good feeling about AC EVO's VR. With the new engine they are using, we may have a sim that will dethrone AM2 as the VR sim king.
Yeah, I gotta pull over and comment on that for a second. Well, right now, it looks pretty good, and you guys can see right there I don't know whether to call it trees 3D, but games like Automobilista 2 and even GT7 in VR, you have the 2D spinning trees that turn as you're passing it. The trees here, they're not the 2D spinning trees. It looks like, what's the word I'm looking for? 2D objects in a cross pattern. So it looks like a four-way tree. That's no big deal to me. I could care less about that because it's several other games that do that too. Everything looks good. The big thing that's going to stand out, and I could really care less about that. I know why they do it. They have to save resources. But in the distance, you see those trees right there. They look kind of bland. And as I start driving closer to those trees, they're going to come into focus and you're going to see the details come out. And then they're going to look like these trees here when I get closer to it. So I'll creep up there slowly and you'll see the trees come into focus. Looking at the trees straight ahead. You can see it right there, starting to come into focus. Darker colors are starting to come in. Shadows. And then, hell, I'll stand up so you guys can see it. And then, yeah, you can see up close how detailed these trees are. And then in the distance, they look kind of bland and not as detailed as you see here. Like I said, I know how that works. You know, they got to save resources, all that stuff. It's a different way of doing pop-ins. Some of it comes in gradually and some of it just pops right out. I got to do something else real quick. I've got to turn off the asynchronous space warp. and then I'll get out and take a look at this car. Synchronous space warp auto. No. There we go. Disabled. All right. Let's get out of this car and have a look. Oh shit. Nearly fell on my ass. So, yeah. Oh, and it got my name on it too. Yeah, pretty slick looking car. All right, let's proceed. Oh, the wheel just shut off. I don't believe this. My wheel just died on, my wheelbase just died. My DD1 just died.
El Diego VR said, "Oh damn. Face with tears of joy." El Diego VR said, "Grimacing face asterisk."
Well, it looks like it's back on. Okay. Whew. Whew. Boy, just like Big Worm said on Fridays, when you play with my wheelbase, you play with my emotions. I know why it turned off. Ooh, coming down that hill, I felt the hill dropping in elevation, and I felt the wheel starting to slip, and I was losing grip. It would look like we're at the carousel. I also think some of the audio might be missing in VR, which is a crazy thing to say, because normally at the carousel, can hear the rear diffuser of the car scraping through the carousel. And one thing I have noticed about this game, like right here on the edge, you go up on that rumble strip, force feedback is there. I feel the vibration, but I don't hear it. Whereas on Le Mans Ultimate, when you go up on those rumble strips, you hear voom, voom. It's the second carousel. Now, I've seen a couple of YouTubers give their opinion on the force feedback on when you're going down the straights. I guess they kind of feel like there's nothing there. I'll give you my take in a second. I caught the rumble strip. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to go to Monza and I'm going to test this Porsche against the other 911 that I use, or the 992 rather. But coming back to that force feedback thing, I think right now I feel like this is probably the best raw force feedback that I've experienced. You know, I know other people talk about the original Assetto Corsa. Some people say ACC. Some people say iRacing. I'm a person that when it comes to force feedback, I like a lot of resistance. I want that wheel to feel like it doesn't have power steering, because then I feel like it's honest. If you have force feedback that feels like it's got power steering, you might turn the wheel this much, but the wheels are like turning like this and the car's over rotating. I think when the resistance is, when the wheel feels heavy, I think the inputs feel honest, and they feel one-to-one. The other thing with the force feedback with me, in order to achieve that resistance that I like, I have to turn the force feedback up quite a bit to like 70%. And the problem with that is that it causes oscillation. So when I'm going on straights, the wheel tends to shake so bad that I have to keep both hands on the wheel. Otherwise, it'll go crazy to the point where I have to like close the game or reach behind the wheelbase and shut it off. This is probably the only game where I have the force feedback turned up as high as it is. I go down the straights, I'm feeling the small details, and there's like, it probably shakes about that much, and it feels like roll detail instead of oscillation and clipping. So, and that is the biggest problem I have with R Factor 2 is the clipping is a big problem with that game. There are times when I'm going down the straights and the wheel will just suddenly turn and send the car off into the wall. There are times where I'll make a turn and the car keeps going straight because the wheel didn't turn. So clipping is really bad with R Factor 2. When it works like it's supposed to, R Factor 2 has some of the best force feedback and handling in any racing game, even for how old it is. But when that clipping happens, it can be disastrous because out of nowhere, you're on a straight and you think you're doing okay, and then the car just goes into the wall for no reason. And it's because of that. That's one of the reasons why I haven't streamed R Factor 2 that much lately, because the clipping has become unbearable. And in order for me to get rid of the oscillation, I have to turn the force feedback down so low to the point where there's almost no resistance. And so it causes me to over crank the wheel and over rotate the car. I need that resistance so I know exactly what the car is doing. So that being said, I'm not saying that Rennsport has the best force feedback. I'm saying that I like it the most. Let's go to Monza. And the reason I say that is because I want to test both versions of this 911. Because you guys see me do spot of death. All right, so we'll start with this Founders Edition. All right, let's go. And one thing I absolutely love, I love those 3 cameras. The regular 911, the 992 that I normally drive, the mirrors on the outside of the car, I don't really think they're that effective. This is absolutely effective. But these 3 cameras inside the car and these 2 outside cameras acting as mirrors, or all of them acting as mirrors. It's one in the center is your rear view, and then the 2 outside of your mirrors on the doors. I would almost be able to get away with, if I don't have a spotter, it won't be the end of the world. So I'll do a couple of laps with this car. and then I'll come back and do a couple of laps with the other 9 with the other Porsche.
MWS said, "Hey man, hope all is well."
Doing good. How about you?
MWS said, "Doing good man, just working."
Good to hear.
MWS said, "How's the new game feel?"
I like this. I like this. So I don't even know why I hesitated like that. Ooh. Ooh. The car slid. Oof. Oof. I don't know if... Oh, that's got to be why that left tire is cooked. Oh. I was braking heavy and getting ready to go into that turn, and now I got a flat spot. This is a bad one, too. Okay, I think I found one problem with the game that I agree with some of these YouTubers. Okay, so I thought something was wrong with my wheelbase, or I thought something was different about the way this car handles. What happened was I locked up the wheels, and that left wheel, as if you guys might have saw, was red. So I cooked that front left tire, and I slid right off the track. Now that is one thing that some of the other YouTubers talked about. Niels Nielzak in particular. said he didn't feel anything when he hit the brakes hard and the wheels locked up. He wasn't feeling anything. So that he might have a point. I mean, he appears to have a point there. Let's come back and try my other car. Everything loads fast in this game, I will say that, unlike Le Mans Ultimate. What's the Founders Pack look like? See what this looks like. Okay, same kind of livery, just happens to be on this car. So with this car, as you can see, it doesn't have any cameras in here. You got the rear view mirror there, and the mirror's on the outside of the car. All right. Let's go. Let's see what we got. It's exactly the same. Scared of locking up the brakes now. Okay, cool. The tires didn't burn up. Damn it. That slide right there. They drive about, I don't know, it seems like they drive about the same. .3, that's about what I turned in yet a couple of days ago. Ooh, lost time. Or did I? Okay. Hey, a 149.195. We are inching ever so close to the 148. Now, that last lap, sector 2 is where I got to pick it up. So, yeah. Yeah, sector 2 is where I got to pick it up. But based on what I've seen, on a couple of these streams, when I finally do get into these daily races in VR, a 149.1 is fast enough that it should get me into the top 5. I know it's not going to stay that way as more and more people join the game, but the game as it is right now, from what I've seen, 149 should be 149.1 should be good enough for a top 5 finish. So yeah, this Porsche and the Rennsport edition, they kind of feel the same, but I don't know. Maybe it's a mental thing, but I trust this car more. So I'm more aggressive in this car, and I trust it more. So give me a moment. Let's see here. Brake bias. Yeah, that looked like a headset thing. My God. I have been having some slight issues here and there. All right. Yeah, the initial boot up takes a minute, but once you're in the game, it all the other stuff loads kind of quick. Let's see here. I'm feeling like Fuji or I'm feeling like Daytona. We'll do a couple of laps at both. Well, I got a bad feeling about this. I don't think I have any sound. Nope. Jesus. The face volume. All right. Look like we're back. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I pre-ordered the Pimax Crystal, because sometimes these Oculus or Meta headsets with that link cable and the compression and decompression crap, sometimes it's just like it's an absolute headache. That's why you got to feather that pedal. Because if you let off of it going around a corner, the car's going to oversteer. But if you give it too much, it's going to start to wash out and understeer. All right, I'm already rattled. Let's go on to Daytona. Although I trust this car and I'm a little more aggressive in this car than I am on other sims, I can still only take it so far. Yeah, I might even do another Road Atlanta before we wrap it up. Fill those seats up though. I gotta find a brake mark at that corner. I find a reference. Try to push it. And the tires are cooked. Do 1 or 2 more laps. Move on to Road Atlanta, then wrap it up. right, I beat that last lap by half a second. All right, let's go to Road Atlanta, even though I'm trash at that track. Do not expect good lap times out of me on this track. I like this track. It's challenging, but it is super easy to make mistakes. It's super easy to make miss braking points when you got turns that are at the top of a hill. All right. Let's go. Ooh, it's gonna be a miss. Oh. I was on a roll. Man, that feels good though. I cannot wait for this game to get the sim hub support so I can use my base shakers on this game, and that will be like, that's gonna be like a game changer, because I will be able to feel everything. I will be able to feel when the wheels lock up. I will be able to feel when the back end comes loose. I mean, the wheelbase feeds me some of that information, but the base shakers are a big help. The other thing is the crew chief. When it gets crew chief support, that'll be huge too. So, all that stuff, all that shit I was doing, I was only going to gain 2 more tenths because I did a 121.6. And I started getting a little more aggressive that last lap, and I was on my way to a 121.4. So ooh, sausage. I was carrying so much speed through there. I hit that second hump and the car went loose again. So that'll be enough to take a little bit of aggression out of you. But it felt good though. I was getting into it. Felt good. I have not done this mod track, but let's have a look at it and then I'll wrap it up. This orchard, old Orchard Road, whatever. So don't expect any aggression out of me unless everything just clicks after a lap or two. Oh shit. This reminds me of the Detroit Grand Prix. Not a bad track. Fictional track, not a bad track though. Hey, Rennsport devs, if you're listening, we need that Circuit de la Sarthe. We need that 24 Hours of Le Mans track. Come on. So, is there any tracks that I'm... Oh, the Rennsport beta... What is this? Oh, that's just a figure eight. Nah, I'm not interested in that. No, I'm not a big fan of Hockenheim either. Yeah, I need my regular black and red livery back. All right, I'm going to give this a go and see if I can break a 218, and then we're going to wrap it up. Greedy. I lifted a little bit and lost a couple of tenths. It was winking at me. Possible 218,959. It was winking at me. We'll get it. But I think I'm going to go ahead and hang it up. Grab a bite to eat. And then decide whether I'm going to do this 2 hours of Sao Paulo on Automobile Lista 2. Thank you all for watching. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Some of it was my fault. Some of it was bugs within the game. But all in all, I'm really loving this. I think they got something special, and I think the when this game is done, it's going to be up there with the best of them. With that, thank you all for watching. We will see you all on the next one. Until then, you all know the line. Wakanda forever. Long live the king, and deuces. See you soon, everybody. Have a good one.